Hello and welcome to Mewoosh Guitar School. This is part 2 of the Learning Platforms video. And in this video, we're going to talk about the different software packages that you can look at and as learning platforms, as teaching tools for learning how to play guitar. So the next thing that you have are guitar software platforms. So I picked a few out here. Guitar Pro 6 is a very popular one. Go Play Along. I'm going to show you an example of that. It's very similar. What it is a tab composition software, playback, play along of tab. It also gives you an idea of the cadence, the notes, where the rests are. There's a lot more information in it, so it's also going to be a little more strict. And the quality of downloads that you can get for this are going to be better than you're going to get for tab, although you can import tab. You just have to clean it up afterwards, because often tab is not going to have a lot of the markings that are required to for the notes to play out, for the cadence to be correct, right? This is more sophisticated than just looking at tab. And you can play this over a metronome or a backing track, which is even better. And it kind of is all incorporated into one platform, which is really nice. Rocksmith, this is a platform that I bought into early. So I bought the original one, Rocksmith 1, and then I bought Rocksmith 2014 when it came out. This is the largest investment. This is the largest one-time investment of anything that I've looked at. It was, I think, $79.99 the first time I bought it, and $89.99 the second time I bought it, because I bought it with the Rocksmith tone cable, real tone cable it's called. If you don't have this cable, it's a USB at one end and 1/4 inch at the other, and it's got some weird little chip or something in the cable. If you don't have that cable, you can't play a legit copy of Rocksmith, because it'll say you don't have the real tone cable. There are other 1/4 inch to USB cables out there, but you can't just use any old one. You either have to have a cracked version of the software, or you have to have the legit cable. And I'm not even sure you can do that with an Xbox anyway. This is the platform that I bought it for. What I like about Rocksmith is the gameplay. So you've got, and I don't mean when you're playing songs, but there's a thing they call Guitarcade, which is brilliant. And it gives you these little games that focus on very specific skills, and it just makes a game out of that skill. So plucking the correct string is one of the games that they do, which is really interesting. There's shooting ducks, which is plucking the correct fret. So you can see a highlighted area, which is the position for your hand that covers 4 of the frets. And then you just play one of the notes on the string that they've given you based on the color. And it'll shoot a little, bullet up there to try and hit the duck. And then some of the moves. It's kind of a neat game, but it trains you to not look at the guitar neck for the things that like playing the correct string, which is something I could never do when I was first learning as a teenager. Now, Musician is a very popular platform. There's no way you haven't heard of it, particularly if you look at guitar videos and are on YouTube. You've seen Musician, you know what it is. This one you can get for free. The free version's better than it used to be, I think. The premium is a $10 a month subscription, which at the time that I first got it, I was unwilling to pay that kind of money for something, particularly that I'd already spent $170 on Rocksmith, so I wanted to get my money's worth out of that. But the premium gives you unlimited play time, and you can upload custom songs, which is really interesting, or you can just program songs directly into it, which is quite cool. And in fact, one of the formats that you can upload is Guitar Pro. So you can take downloads off the internet, but you can get for free for Guitar Pro and upload them into Musician and then just play them. And it should include the things like the backing track and all that kind of stuff. And what I like about Musician is that the layout on the screen is compatible with tab. This is something that I missed out on quite a bit looking at Rocksmith. Rocksmith shows the glass neck view, I call it, which is you're looking at the neck from behind, which is good if you don't need to look at the neck then the three-dimensional spatial orientation of the frets and where you're holding the guitar are directly represented by what you're seeing on the screen. But if you're learning guitar, you're most likely coming from a world where you look at the neck the whole time you're playing. Certainly if you're going to solo or something, you're going to be looking at the neck while you do it. Few people can solo while they sing. You really have to be an expert if you're going to try and get to that level. And you certainly can't be looking at the neck while you're doing it. So that I found limiting, because I couldn't learn tab or use the chord shapes that they were showing me when a chord comes up in the song, because it's upside down to what I'm used to and it's just not familiar. So all I've got are the letters that come up, and if it's going to give me like an E7 sus9 chord or some crazy thing, I don't know what that is offhand. So then I often just have to slow it down, do the riff repeater thing, which is also very cool, because then you can just play one section over and over again until you get it. And then I can sort of pause it, look at the chord, figure out where all the notes are. I think this is actually an E7 sharp sus9 or something, the Hendrix chord. What's here? No, that's not it. That's it. Anyway. So Musician offers you the personal view of the neck, which is what it looks like when you look at your own guitar neck. The E string is the one that's at the bottom, it's closest to you. The frets are vertical. They are here for me. Here they're sort of at a funny angle. But the whole point is that you have something that you can transfer. The way chords are depicted is consistent with what you're seeing on the Musician screen. Of course, Musician doesn't show you the dots for the notes. They just put a box over all the strings that you're playing a chord over. But tab, at least, is completely consistent with the Musician look and view. So there's some transferable knowledge, skills that you have with Musician that you can carry into Musician from your experience with tab, which is, at least in my day, where everybody started. If you just wanted to get a photocopied page out of Guitar Magazine, which will have the tablature to some song, which was, of course, just worked out by one of their editors. It wasn't, you know, there's no official source for tab. It just comes from somebody that spent the time to figure it out, right? That's another problem with tab, is that the community of people that write tab have their own notation. They use their own symbols, and in fact, I've seen once where somebody did the tab in the Rocksmith way, if you like, where the low E was on the high line. Tablature, properly done, has the low notes, the low strings on the bottom, the high strings on the top, and plays, you know, from left to right as you're reading across. So to summarize the software thing, Rocksmith is great for game-based learning, which is a thing. People really gravitate to it. It's more fun when you're playing a game to learn something, and you tend to have stronger mental connections to the skills that you're learning. You know, knowing that you're playing the correct string in that saloon shoot-'em-up game. I got that skill developed just from playing that game. And previous to that, not only was I had only been playing fifth chords, but I'd have to look to make sure that I was plucking the right strings and not like missing entirely. The problem, though, with Rocksmith is it's not tab compatible. It's upside down to that. So if you're an expert player, you could quickly get your head around that and then just get used to playing it. A major benefit of Rocksmith, which is the same with Musician, is that it will critique your performance. So it will tell you if you're playing the wrong note. It'll tell you what percentage accuracy you had. And if you play the wrong note, it'll mark it off, and it'll remember which one was wrong. So if you go into riff repeater, for example, it'll show you with a little exclamation mark the notes that you missed on the previous pass, which is really good. By comparison, Musician doesn't do game-based learning. It has challenges, which are you know, in a community of users that you may or may not join, you can compare your performance against other people that are at the same rank. So the software is going to figure out at what level you are as a player, and then will put you in with other people of that same rank. You can compare your score on a particular song against other people that are at that same level. But that's not the same as game-based learning, because the learning that you're doing is still directly related to playing a song. It's not to playing some game using the instrument as your input device. Musician, though, is tab compatible, which is enormously valuable if you're also using tablature in any way. Musician then is directly comparable to it. So any knowledge that you gain and skills that you gain in one transfer immediately to the other. Whereas if you get really good at Rocksmith, you then have to sort of have a separate mental bucket for tablature in your mind, because it's just not going to look the same. Musician also critiques your play. It also ranks you to say how far along you are as a player. However, with the premium account, you can also upload custom songs, or upload Guitar Pro 6 recordings, right? Or files. Guitar Pro doesn't have game-based learning either. It again is just a platform where you're playing guitar while looking at the screen of, in this case, tab. It of course is tab compatible. I mean, that's its bread and butter. What it doesn't do is critique your performance. It won't tell you if you played a note wrong. It'll just play the song and you play along with it. It'll tell you what you should play numerically, you know, in the tablature, and it'll tell you what the note should sound like, because you can just hover your mouse over the note and it'll play it, or you can play the track and listen to it. However, you have full access to custom music. In fact, you have full access to any importable tablature that you want with that platform. So I hope that was useful to you. I hope this gives you some kind of a background for the kind of software options that are out there. Lots more videos to come. I've also got videos. I have to build my EVH Art whammy guitar before the show we do in May. I really got to get on that. That's a month away now. So anyway, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching.